HC5 Smart Ways. Rich people accumulate wealth that poor people don't know. No wonder they're poor. Picture two people, same company, same job title, same salary, exactly $52,000 a year. They started the same year, went to the same university, live in the same city. 5 years in, one of them has $11,000 in their bank account and a vague anxiety that follows them into every weekend. The other has a net worth of $87,000, an investment account growing without their involvement, and something rare, a sense that money is working for them, not the other way around. Same salary. Different system. This video is about the system. There is a law, not a financial law, not a tax law, but a psychological law, documented in 1955 by a British naval historian writing about bureaucracy. It explains, precisely and mathematically, why most people who get a raise end up just as broke as before. We'll get there. There is also a rule, the most powerful rule in investing, used by the wealthiest capital allocators in the world. It says nothing about what to buy, nothing about timing the market, nothing about finding the next great stock. It says something else entirely. We'll get there too. And there is a number, a specific percentage, that divides two completely different categories of financial behavior. Below it, you are building wealth. Above it, you are performing wealth for an audience of one. Most people reading their bank statements right now are performing. We'll get to that number. But first, the 5 ways, in order, starting with the one that costs nothing and takes 11 minutes to set up. That's way 1. They measure everything. Ask the average person what their salary is, and they can tell you immediately. Ask them what their net worth is, the actual number, assets minus liabilities, calculated within the last 30 days, and most will pause. Some will guess. Most will change the subject. Ask a millionaire the same question, and they will tell you their net worth to within a few $1,000s. Not because they are obsessed with money, because they treat their personal finances the way a business treats its balance sheet. A 10-year study by Ramsey Solutions surveyed 10,000 millionaires across the United States. 93% of them tracked their net worth regularly, not their spending. Their spending, not their budget line items. Their net worth. The single number that tells you whether you are winning or losing the financial game. Here is the difference in thinking. Exermat, tiles. The average person tracks their spending to feel guilty about it. The wealthy person tracks their numbers to find inefficiencies. The same way a CEO reads a quarterly report not to feel bad about underperforming divisions, but to find and fix them. Your salary is what comes in. Your net worth is the score. You could have a high salary and a negative net worth. You can have a modest salary and a growing net worth. The number that matters is the one most people never calculate. Here is what measuring actually does. When you know your net worth, you see the leak. You see the $340 monthly subscription pile you forgot about. You see the car loan costing you more per month than you're investing. You see the gap between what you earn and what you keep, and that gap has a name and a cause that you can address. People who track their net worth monthly accumulate, on average, 40% more wealth over 10 years than those with identical incomes who don't. Not because tracking is magic. Number 2, partons. Because you cannot optimize what you cannot see. Set up a simple spreadsheet. Assets minus liabilities equals net worth. Updated on the 1st of every month. That's it. That's it. That's way 1. Do. Way 2. They automate discipline. Here is a question. On a Tuesday morning in February, when you're tired and behind on emails, and your car needs new tires, and your rent just went up, how likely are you to manually transfer $500 to your investment account? Now ask the same question about someone who set up an automatic transfer 2 years ago that moves $500 every first of the month before they even see the paycheck. The answer to the second question is 100%. Every month, no matter how tired they are, no matter what the news says, no matter how strong the argument feels for skipping just this once. Behavioral economists at the University of Chicago studied what happens when saving is made automatic versus manual. Participation rates in savings programs jumped from 49% to 86%. The same people, the same income, the same financial goals, just a different system. They didn't become more disciplined. They removed discipline from the equation. This is the insight most personal finance advice misses entirely. Pay yourself first is not a motivational slogan. It is an engineering principle. The money leaves before your brain can generate a reason to spend it. The psychology behind this is called pre-commitment. You make the decision once in a calm moment when your future self and your present self are aligned. Then you lock it in. The decision is never made again. It just executes. Here is the math that makes this concrete. Two people, both 22 years old, both decide to save $500 a month. So A sets up an automatic transfer. Person B intends to do it manually. Person A never misses a month. Person B skips February because of the car tires, skips June because of the vacation, skips November because of the holidays. By 65, the automated saver has statistically 34% more wealth, not from a single extra dollar of income, not from better investments, but from never skipping. Willpower is a finite resource. The wealthy don't have more of it than you. They've simply engineered a life where they need less of it. Way 3. They kill Parkinson's law. In 1955, a British naval historian named C. Northcote Parkinson published an essay in The Economist with an observation that was meant to describe government bureaucracy. He wrote that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. The more time you give a task, the more complex it becomes. Give a committee 6 months to solve a problem, and they will need 6 months. What Parkinson didn't write, but what the data has confirmed many times over, is the financial corollary. Expenses expand to fill the income available. This is why 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, not because 78% of Americans are poor. A CareerBuilder survey found that this statistic holds for households earning $100,000 a year. A CNBC survey found that 1 in 3 Americans earning $75,000 or more had no savings at all. Let that sit for a moment. $75,000 a year. No savings. Not because of emergencies, not because of debt, because every time income went up, expenses found a way to match it. You've seen this. Maybe you've lived it. The raise comes. The apartment gets upgraded. The car gets newer. The restaurants get nicer. The subscriptions multiply. 3 months later, the same percentage of income remains, which is to say, none. This is Parkinson's law operating exactly as described. Your financial life expands to consume whatever income is available, unless you explicitly prevent it. Tarsic. The wealthy prevent it with a rule so simple it sounds obvious until you actually implement it. Every raise, every single increase in income gets split immediately. 50% goes directly to investment before lifestyle adjusts. The other 50% is guilt-free, consequence-free spending increase. DAC. You are allowed to enjoy the raise. D. You are required to capture half of it first. The reason most people don't do this is not lack of knowledge. It's that the upgrade happens first, the savings plan happens second, and by the time you think about the second part, Parkinson's law has already claimed the territory. The order is everything. Automate the investment before the upgrade. Let the lifestyle follow what's left. Now, that number I mentioned at the beginning, the percentage that divides building wealth from performing wealth, the number is 20. If you are saving and investing 20% or more of your gross income, you are building wealth. Second, the math of compounding at historical market returns is working powerfully in your favor. Below 20%, you are managing a slow decline dressed up as stability. The median American savings rate hovers between 5 and 8%. The median American retires with less than $100,000 in savings. These two statistics are the same statistic. 20% is not a magic threshold. It is the minimum point at which compounding becomes meaningful over a working lifetime. Below it, you are performing the appearance of financial health. Above it, you are building the reality of it. C. If 20% feels impossible right now, the answer is not to dismiss it. The answer is to start at 5 and automate an increase of 1% every 6 months. You will not feel a 1% income shift. Your lifestyle will not notice, but your net worth will notice. And 5 years from now, you will be at 15% without a single dramatic sacrifice. If this is the first time Parkinson's law has been applied to your paycheck, subscribe. So, Way 4 is where the math becomes genuinely uncomfortable. W. Picken. Way 4. They optimize capital efficiency. Wealthy people do not think about how much money they have. They think about what their money is doing right now. When you sow what bare self at this moment, night, while they sleep, every dollar has a job. If a dollar is sitting in a checking account earning nothing, it is not resting. It is losing. Inflation runs at approximately 3% annually in stable economic conditions. A dollar doing nothing is a dollar shrinking. Idle cash is not safety. No cocky? It is a slow leak. Here is the math that most people have seen but haven't fully absorbed. $10,000 sitting in a checking account for 20 years is still approximately $10,000. $10,000 invested in a broad market index fund at the S&P 500's historical average of 10.5% annual return becomes $67,000 in 20 years. The difference between these two outcomes is not risk tolerance. It is not financial sophistication. It is the decision to put the money to work. Now consider this. Two people, both earning $100,000 annually, both saving $20,000 a year. Person A keeps $50,000 in a checking account as a safety cushion. It feels secure, and security has value. Person B keeps $15,000 as a genuine emergency fund and invests the rest. After 20 years, Person B has $340,000 more than Person A. From the same income, the MACE is partables. From the same savings rate, from the decision about what the money does between now and then. The concept is called return on capital employed. It is how businesses evaluate whether their assets are being used effectively. A business that has $10 million sitting unused while competitors are deploying capital and growing is considered poorly managed. Apply that same lens to your personal balance sheet. The question is not how much do you have? The question is, what percentage of what you have is currently deployed and working? The wealthy have high utilization rates. UMAL, most people have very low ones, often without realizing it. Emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account, not a checking account. Everything above that threshold, deployed. Every dollar assigned a job. Way 5. They protect the principal. Here is a piece of mathematics that most investors understand intellectually, but very few have internalized emotionally. If you lose 50% of your portfolio, you need a 100% gain just to get back to where you started. Lose 25%, you need a 33% gain. Lose 10%, you need an 11% gain. The math of loss is asymmetric. Recovery always costs more than the fall. This asymmetry is why the most famous rule in investing says nothing about finding winners. Rule number 1. It says, never lose money. The second rule is never forget rule number 1. This is not an inspirational poster. It is a mathematical instruction. The investor who avoids large losses, even at the cost of some upside, will almost always outperform the investor who swings for maximum gains. Look at this comparison. Investor A has 3 consecutive years of returns, positive 20%, positive 20%, negative 50%. A spectacular 2 years followed by 1 bad year. Their net result after 3 years, negative 4%. They lost money. Investor B has 3 consecutive years of returns, positive 10%, positive 10%, positive 10%. Steady, unremarkable, boring. Their net result after 3 years, positive 33%. Same time frame. Investor B made 37 percentage points more. Not by being smarter, not by finding better opportunities, but by avoiding the catastrophic year that Investor A thought they could survive. The practical application is not complicated. Diversify across asset classes so that no single event can destroy a large percentage of your portfolio. Size your positions so that even a complete loss on any single investment does not change your financial trajectory. Only take risks where the potential upside is significantly larger than the potential downside. What investors call asymmetric risk. The wealthy are not reckless with their capital. They are precise with it. They understand that the mathematics of wealth accumulation rewards consistency and punishes volatility. They would rather have 10 boring years of steady returns than 9 great years and 1 catastrophic one. Subscribe. The next video breaks down exactly how to apply all 5 of these on a $30,000 salary, starting with your next paycheck. So here is what separates them. It is not income. The data on that is unambiguous. There are people earning $100,000 who are broke, which it's broke. There are people earning $40,000 who are quietly building wealth that will outlast them. The first separation is measurement. You cannot optimize what you cannot see. Calculate your net worth. Not someday. Second separation is engineering. Stop relying on willpower for financial decisions. Automate the important ones and never make them again. The third separation is the one that stays with you. The wealthy are not building wealth. They have built systems that build wealth for them. The work happened once, in the setup, in the automation, in the decision to measure and protect and deploy. After that, the system runs. While they sleep, while they take vacations, while they do work they actually want to do. 5 years from now, you could be the person who checks their account on a Tuesday morning, not with anxiety, but with something quieter, not dramatic. Not dramatic. just the steady accumulation of a system that was set in motion and never turned off. Which of these 5 are you already doing? And which one are you going to start this week? Not this year, this week. Tell me in the comments. The gap between these two people is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even time. It is a decision, made or not made, about whether money works for you or whether you spend your life working for it.